Have you ever clenched your jaw while struggling with something simple, like tying a knot in a shoelace, only to find the tighter you pull, the worse the tangle becomes? Have you noticed how the moment you stop forcing it, take a breath, and let your fingers feel the rhythm of the lace, the knot surrenders almost by itself? In those tiny victories hides an ancient secret, one whispered by Taoist sages under moonlit bamboo groves, a secret that asks, what if the best way to act is to stop trying so hard? Picture a small village carved into the folds of misty mountains. A single dirt road curls through rice paddies that shimmer like mirrors at dawn. At the road's end lives an old farmer. His back is stooped, his beard as white as plum blossoms. Every day he wakes before the rooster, works just hard enough to guide the water channels, checks on his single sturdy horse, and then sits beneath the persimmon tree, sipping tea as clouds drift by. One summer afternoon, thunder growls over the valley. The wind kicks up dust. The farmer's horse bolts over a crumbling fence and disappears into the rainforest of tall grass. The villagers hurry over, faces twisted with sympathy. What terrible luck, they sigh. The old man nods. Maybe, he answers, sipping his tea. No anger, no panic, just a gentle shrug that floats away on the storm's tail. Days pass. The horse does not return. The villagers place bets that the old man's fields will go unplowed, that his harvest will fail. But on the seventh morning, the farmer wakes to thunder again. Only this time hooves echo behind it. Out of the mist gallops his horse, and right behind her, a wild stallion, midnight black, muscles rippling like living silk. The farmer opens the gate. The stallion trots in, flicks its jet-black mane and stays. The villagers sprint over, their voices bursting with envy and delight. What wonderful luck, they cheer. The old man shrugs once more. Maybe, he says, patting the new horse's neck with calm hands. His teenage son decides to tame the stallion. The boy mounts, digs in his heels, and the stallion explodes into a storm of power. Within seconds, the boy is thrown high. He lands hard, and his leg snaps like dry bamboo. The villagers swarm again. Poor man, such misfortune, they lament. The farmer strokes his beard. Maybe, he murmurs, as he splints his son's leg with steady fingers. Weeks later, soldiers thunder into the village. A warlord demands every able-bodied young man. Sons are torn from mothers, brothers from sisters. The farmer's injured boy lies in bed, his leg still mending. The soldiers glance at him, shake their heads, and ride on. The villagers, hollow-eyed, watch their children march away. They bow to the old man, tears glisten on their cheeks. You are blessed, they whisper. The farmer, cradling his empty teacup, gazes at the sun rising above rice paddies that ripple like liquid gold. Maybe, he says. And then he closes his eyes, listening to the wind move through the persimmon leaves. Let's freeze the story there, right at that quiet inhale. The boy with a mending leg, the father who neither cheers nor wails, and the villagers yo-yoing between delight and despair. What is happening beneath the surface? Why does the farmer float while those around him flail? This, friends, is the Taoist art of Wu Wei, literally non-doing, yet vibrant with the most profound kind of doing. Wu Wei is not laziness, not a couch potato philosophy. It is the wisdom of acting in harmony with the natural flow. Imagine a river. Try to push the water and you only create splashes. Instead, dip your oar lightly, feel the current, and steer with tiny adjustments. That is Wu Wei. It is action stripped of friction, intention without tension. Now consider the farmer. When the horse ran away, he did not label the event good or bad. He allowed reality to reveal its shape over time. When the stallion arrived, he accepted the gain without ego. When his son broke his leg, he tended the wound. Without cursing the sky, his responses were precise, minimal, born of the moment like bamboo bending in the wind. That minimalism is not passivity, it is mastery. It is trusting that life, like water, seeks its own level. But let's widen the lens. What would different philosophies advise our farmer? A Stoic might say, focus on what you can control and accept what you cannot. Good advice, yet notice the Stoic tightness of jaw, the discipline. Wu Wei is gentler. A nihilist might shrug, declaring all events meaningless. Yet the farmer does care. He repairs fences, nurtures his son. The difference, he doesn't shove meaning onto events. He lets meaning float like clouds reflecting in paddies. There's a comedic mirror to this in our everyday grind. Think about that email you hammered out at 1 a.m., paragraphs polished like chrome, only to realize the next morning a single sentence would have sufficed. or the meeting where everyone spoke eagerly. Yet nothing moved until someone asked, "What happens if we do?" Nothing. Suddenly the solution surfaced like a fish breaking water. That surprise is Wu Wei in office attire. Athletes know it too. The archer who aims with trembling muscles misses. The one who exhales, releases, and lets the arrow fly with the bow's own tension finds the bullseye. Musicians call it being in the pocket. Software engineers call it flow state. Oriental painters call it having ink in the bones. All hint at the same current that carries effort when effort stops thrashing. You might say, easy for a sage on a mountain. I've got deadlines, kids, rent. The paradox is, Wu Wei thrives amid chaos. It is precisely in rush hour traffic that unclenching the wheel softens the ride. It is on a packed elevator where you choose to breathe instead of elbow. It is in code that refactors itself after you step away for tea. Let things align before you apply force. That's not avoidance. That's strategic patience. Science nods along. Psychologists speak of the default mode network, a brain circuit that activates during rest, spawning insights. Writers chase shower thoughts. Einstein sailed his boat when stuck on equations, because rowing against mind currents only muddies water. When the mind idles, sediments settle. The river becomes clear, ideas glint silver beneath the surface. You scoop them with ease. Yet Wu Wei carries a moral weight too. The farmer's son was spared war, not because father manipulated fate, but because he didn't. His minimal actions rippled outward, sparing suffering. In our age of hyperproductivity, where every minute must monetize, doing less can heal more. It can leave space for others to grow, for ecosystems to breathe, for society to self-correct. But let's slip back to our mountain village. The war drums fade, seasons pass, the sun's leg heals, the black stallion grazes peacefully. The old man's crops flourish. Some years the harvest is modest, others abundant. The farmer keeps pouring tea, smiling when steam curls into the autumn air. One evening, a young traveler arriving dusty from the war-scarred plains asks, "Old one, what is your secret?" The farmer fills a cup, lets the silence pool. Finally he says, "When water is still, even moonlight cannot disturb it. Be like still water," the traveler drinks, feeling the cool liquid spread calm through veins starved of peace. And so our parable ends, or rather it flows on, carried in the footsteps of that traveler, maybe into your living room, your morning commute, your lines of code. When the next knot refuses to loosen, when the next meeting spirals, when life gallops off with your best horse, pause, breathe, whisper maybe, and watch events reveal their hidden contours. Let your actions be light, precise, like calligraphy on rice paper. Let the river help carry the boat. Now I invite you to look at your own story. Where are you rowing upstream? Where could you steer instead? If the wisdom of Wu Wei drifts into your day, what might shift? I'd love to hear. Share your experience below. If this exploration resonates with you, subscribe, share it with a fellow traveler, and for now, as always, keep thinking.